Yes, I'll start the recording. Okay. So you can go ahead, Joan. We're good to go.
Do you want to announce that the meeting has begun?
Oh, I thought you did.
I know, I love this, right? I can do it though too. I don't know. I just want to check it. I'm ready. The regular meeting of the Minneapolis Arts Commission will now begin. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joan Vorderbergen, and I am the chair of the Minneapolis Arts Commission. Before we begin, I'd like to note that this meeting includes the remote participation of members as authorized under Minnesota Statute Section 13D.021 due to the declared local health pandemic. I will now call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll so that we may verify the presence of a quorum.
Thank you. Commissioner Aylesworth?
Here.
Commissioner Badbury?
Here.
Commissioner Brinkman?
Present.
Commissioner Henry?
Here.
Commissioner Silky Jones?
Here.
Commissioner Kevorkian? Commissioner Kevorkian?
Here.
Commissioner Mansfield?
Present.
Commissioner Bedeck?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Present.
Commissioner Swinton?
Here.
And Commissioner Vorderbergen?
Here. Thank you. With that, we will proceed to our agenda, a copy of which was posted for public access to the city's legislative information management system, which is available at lims.minneapolismn.gov. Thanks, everybody. Okay, we are going to start this February meeting with introductions, but we at exec had decided that we would also like to honor the fact that February is Black History Month, and so Commissioner Henry has so generously offered to kick us off with a dedication. Go ahead.
All right. Keep in mind, I am Black, for those who cannot see me, and I work as an improviser and comedian also. Ready? I'm just kidding. As full of love as February is, it is a reminder how full of other things this country is. The Observant the Black History was created by Carter G. Woodson, an African-American historian, scholar, educator, and publisher in 1926. He discovered our education system shared little of our history. The celebration originated as only a week-long event for students to share what they've learned throughout the school year, and then was extended for a full month in 1976. The anniversary of the 13th Amendment's approval, the height of the Civil Rights Movement, and in observance of Frederick Douglass's birthday, as well as many other things. This month is to commemorate the illustrious contributions provided by African Americans, who unfortunately were believed to be nothing more than 3/5 a person at one time. We are beautifully intelligent people with talent, resilience, and then some. This month we honor Black men and women and movements such as George Washington Carver, the Montgomery boycott, which declared segregated buses unconstitutional, the Black Panther Party, Martin Luther King Jr., Summer Hortense Burke, who sculpted the bas relief for Franklin Roosevelt, now minted on the dime, and more. Black History Month is currently observed in Canada, Ireland, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom, and still may be a hard pill to swallow for many Americans on how to celebrate. Please don't take any recommendations from Duluth, Minnesota. How do you celebrate, you ask? By appreciating the space, innovations, and energy of Black people and what we have and still will do for this country, i.e., say the next time you ride an elevator, which was invented by Alexander Miles, or stop at a traffic light, if you stop, created by Garrett Morgan, or even visit your mailbox looking for your next stimulus check. Don't thank the government. Thank Philip B. Downing. Pay your privilege forward by donating blood, and then thank by using gratitude to the plasma bag patented by Charles Drew. Remember to pay homage to almost everything you see, eat, and use. Buy from a Black business well after February, and move aside the next time you pass a Black person on the street or in a store. Be kind, but don't flash a smile. Black lives matter. Please be safe. Don't shoot first. Wear your mask. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. I expected nothing less too, but what a wonderful dedication. Thanks so much. Okay, that's a wonderful way to kick us off for tonight. And we're really excited to welcome new commissioners. I asked Commissioner Aylesworth if she would just like to quickly, briefly introduce our new commissioners and allow them a moment to tell us a little bit about themselves.
Hello. Hi, I'm Lana Aylesworth, Commissioner from Ward 11, and it is my honor to be able to welcome two fabulous new commissioners to our team. I think here at MAC, what's really important to know is that we are open to everyone's voice, and when you speak, you really are heard, and so we want to hear from our new commissioners. I have for you some fabulous jazz hands to welcome you. I would have like a firework background. I might even have like a handshake if that were appropriate in this time. But instead, we would love to welcome everyone to share the floor a little bit. So we have Mari and Jeff, and we also have Paolo here tonight. So two officially and one as a distinguished guest here with us this evening. So I'd love to kick it off. Do we have Commissioner Swinton? Are you online?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. Would you mind taking a quick moment and telling us a little bit about you so that we can welcome you properly?
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm excited. This is my first official meeting as a commissioner. I went down to City Hall and, pledged my pledged something. I swore allegiance to do something right. So, I'm official, and I'm excited about being part of it. I've been in Minneapolis for roughly about 5 years, a little over 5 years. I came up here to work for the Schwann's Company. I'm in sales with the Schwann's Company. I have a deep interest in the arts and how it can affect all communities, but in particular the Black community. So I look forward to learning how to serve and to putting in the work to serve. So that's all I have, Commissioner Ellsworth.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Greatly appreciated. Commissioner Mansfield, do you have anything you'd like to share with us today?
Hi, I'm Mari. You can just call me Mari. I'm really excited to be here. I'm a local artist. I've also lived in Minneapolis for most of my life and gone to school here and really love this city. And I'm really looking forward to doing a lot of collaborative work with everyone here in like a variety of the arts. My primary background is as a painter and designer, but this past summer I was most widely recognized for my work at George Floyd Square, painting the names of 169 people of color killed by police. That has led to a lot of cool opportunities, and I'm really excited to continue putting art all over Minneapolis with all you guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Mari. That was really wonderful. We appreciate you taking a little bit of time to share with us yourselves, as we hope to do that in turn as we get to know one another. Some of our resources for new commissioners will be forthcoming. So we're working on a binder that we received as new commissioners last year in person. So that may come as a digital process, or it may be something that's mailed out to you. So Tina and I are in communication on that at present. Really just the idea is to give resources and to open the floor for any questions that you have along the way. We're all resources for one another. I myself have about a year of context, but as a whole commission, I know that all together we can really help answer a lot of questions and guide the force through. I'm going to work on a document with some relevant and perhaps helpful links that will be shared with all commissioners in the future too. So that will be hopefully an evolving resource that we can all look to. So look for that on Teams for posting. It'll also be in SharePoint for those who have figured out how to use that. And then I will send an email for some quick links for reference when that's up and ready. Paulo, did you want to share anything with us today about your lovely self and presence here?
Yeah, sure. I don't think I'm officially a commissioner yet. I don't know exactly how that process works, but I live in Ward 7, and I'm working at Target. I've been in Minneapolis for 2 years now. I love just how vibrant the arts are in the city. More in specific, the music scene. It's been amazing to be here, and yeah, I'm excited to be joining the commission and to learn from you. And I think this will be a good time.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well, please consider yourselves welcome at the table, at the virtual table here that we share together. And thanks for your presence. Thanks for sharing your voice. And there will be more resources to come. Back to you, Joan.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Commissioner Aylesworth, for putting in all the extra effort to get onboarding materials together. I know that no one has taken that on during COVID. So I really appreciate that you've given it some thought and are working to make our new commissioners give them the information they need and make sure that they feel welcome. So thanks a lot. Okay, so we're going to move on to commissioner introductions. And I think it'd be nice, while we don't have a super packed agenda, we do have a lot to talk about, but I also think it's really important, being that we have new people here tonight, that we just take a moment to let people know just a little bit about you. You know, keep it brief, but feel like you can take maybe a little bit more time than you normally would, just being that some of us are new faces and names to our new people. So I'm going to pick on you, Commissioner Henry, because I've already been the star of the show tonight, and I'd like to hear more from you. So why don't you take it away with introductions, and then let's just do what we do and tag each other, if you can remember to do that when you're done, and then we'll get through these introductions. Thank you.
Thanks, Joan. So I am Janae D. Henry. I am an actor. I joined the Arts Commission last year as a teaching artist. I used to teach dance to students in the schools. I am an improviser, and I also work as a creative wardrobe stylist. So much fun, lots of art, right? I am here now as a vice chair, which is amazing. And I live in Ward 8 with or under Council Vice President Jenkins. I will pass it on to M.M. Mansfield. Is that you? Who's M.M.?
Oh, yeah, I think that's me again. Hi. Should I do like another introduction? Or good? Okay, I'll pass it on to Crystal.
Thank you. My name is Crystal Brinkman, she, her, hers. I am currently residing in Ward 1 within the last year, and I'm currently the executive director of Culture Club Collaborative, which is a nonprofit engaging with young people experiencing homelessness and community members and artists, doing all kinds of cool stuff. I'm a musician as well and a performer. I think art really does change everything, and feel pretty passionate about it. So I'm honored to be here with all of you wonderful people. And I am gonna pass it over to Commissioner Kevorkian.
Hi, everybody. This is Ellie Kevorkian. I'm from Ward 10. I'm an artist and a curator and a director of residency, artist in residence programs at Franconia Sculpture Park. I am relatively new to the Twin Cities. I've been here almost 3 years now, but have spent most of my career in Los Angeles. I'm super excited to see new faces here too. It's really fantastic. And I will pass it on to Mandy, Commissioner Mandy.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Mandy Bedbury. I'm in Ward 10. I was trying to think. I think this is my third winter back. Yeah, my third winter back to my hometown where I was in New York previously. My dogs still haven't gotten used to this weather, and I have to put boots on them when it gets below 0 because they can't walk in it. They just haven't acclimated, and I don't think I have either. But I am an actor. I also do improv with Janae in the before times when we could do it on stage. It just seems like so long ago when her and I shared a stage. It's like, I'm also a professional development facilitator. I use improv as a professional development tool to teach emotional intelligence to folks now virtually. You can do improv over Zoom. Who knew? And yeah, this is going to be my third year now coming onto the commission. So I guess I'm an old pro. If you have any questions, you can just give me a call. Okay, that's my old, do you like that character? I just had to try it. I just should try it out. So I'm going to pass it to Commissioner Middag.
Hey everybody, I am Lisa Middag. I am a she, her, hers, and I live in Ward 2. I also work in Wards 3 and 7 downtown. I work for the Minneapolis Downtown Improvement District and work on activation and placemaking in public spaces, really trying to build an inclusive environment for people in our downtown. Most of that work is grounded in arts practice and is done in collaboration with arts organizations and artists. I have kind of a 15-year background of working as an arts admin, and then also studied and got my urban planning degree from the Humphrey School. So I look at it from a community development perspective, and I look at arts as critical to the community here. I serve on the board for Pollen Midwest as their treasurer. I'm a knitter, and you will see me look down a lot during our meetings, and it's just because I'm knitting. I am also, I have to do something with my hands, and I listen better. I'm that person who listens better if they're doing this. So I ask your, I guess, a little bit of grace for doing that. And I can't think of another thing except that now I will pass the baton here to, I think we haven't heard from Commissioner Silky Jones. Oh wait, this is my 6th year, believe it or not, on the commission, and my final one, because then I will have to rotate off. So, and I will pass the baton to Commissioner Silky Jones if she's available.
Hello, everyone. I apologize for having to be off camera, but I'm excited to be together with all of you. My name is Ahava Silky Jones. I represent Ward 7. I work at the intersection of arts and education. I'm currently the executive director for Da Vinci Academy for Arts and Science, which is a K-8 school up on the north edge of Blaine. Previously, I was the principal for the Purpridge Arts High School, which brought me to the Arts Commission. So this is my 2nd year on the commission. Really wonderful to be connected to all of the great things happening with the arts in Minneapolis. I also serve on the board for the Rojo Collective and as a board chair for the Professional Theater and Dance Youth Academy, which connects youth in schools and communities without arts programming to the arts in Chicago. So I'm excited to be here. I have a 10-month-old and a 4-year-old who you will sometimes hear in the background of our meeting, so I apologize for that. They're just excited to talk arts already. Lots of finger painting happening at our house. I will tag who has not gone yet. Joan, have you gone?
No, I haven't gone. Thank you.
All right.
Joan Vorderbergen, she, her, hers, representing Wards 7 and 3. I've roved a bit this past year, and I am the director of Hennepin Theater District Engagement for Hennepin Theater Trust, and I lead public art and placemaking efforts in the Hennepin Theater District. We focus on permanent public art, like big murals and things like that, but also participatory program design with youth and adults who are experiencing unsheltered homelessness in the district. And so we have some really cool cornerstone projects. It's The People, which is a portrait project that leverages artists who use portrait photography to humanize the built environment and bring issues to light with big, huge pictures of people's faces on building sides. And the We Are Still Here initiative, which is an initiative of Indigenous artists who are learning digital art and full motion animation to really realize Hennepin Avenue as a venue for Native truth telling, as well as a program called 5 to 10 on Hennepin, which is kind of in its 5th year now, activating surface parking lots with live concert performances that are driven by youth at Culture Club. So Crystal and I work really closely together on that project. So that's kind of my sort of arts role. I also serve on the board of Forecast Public Art and am the chair of the Harbor Light Advisory Council, and many other things. So I'm super excited to have new people here and that we're taking a moment to just kind of tell a little bit extra about some of the ways that we intersect in the community. So who has not gone? Commissioner Aylesworth, have you gone?
No, not yet. Thank you. Lana Aylesworth, she, her, hers. I represent Ward 11, Jeremy Schrader's ward, and I serve on the commission as a layperson, which means I am a super big arts enthusiast with a background in arts administration, former past in acting dabbling and playwriting dabbling, and a current future in being a commission member and encouraging my kids to explore all of the public art outside that we can see lately. I did just want to share that there was a really beautiful exhibition. Folks, I went to a museum this week. It was in my ward. It's the Russian Museum that's right by 35W and Diamond Lake Road. And Marlena Miles, who has city representation that we were just talking about last month, has a beautiful first solo exhibition there. So if you get a chance, it's really wide open spaces. They have limited capacity, reduced prices for admission right now, and it's a really great thing to see. So that's what I'm focused on. What can I see? What's happening in the community, and trying to amplify that wherever I can. Let's see, Commissioner Smith, are you on?
Hey, I'm Commissioner Smith, and yeah, I was actually going to mention that exhibition by Marlena as well, so I'm excited to go check that out. I live in Ward 1. I'm also a layperson. I think I've been on the commission for 3 years or so, something like that. So I guess, yeah, just another enthusiast. I like experimenting and trying out a bunch of different mediums in my spare time. And yeah, I like the arts community in Minneapolis, music especially. So, is there anybody else who hasn't gone yet? Oh, I guess Mary, do you want to go? Mary and Tina?
Sure, we can move to staff. Thanks.
Sorry, I had to find all the right buttons to push. Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm Mary Altman. I am the public arts supervisor for the city. I lead the public art team, and we run the city's public art projects. The new commissioners will kind of get to know over time what that means. We have 5 people, 4 contracted project managers who run public art projects across the city, and then Talia Moorman, who you'll meet, is the collections coordinator and also coordinates art permit. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you. Tina, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm Tina Beach. I am the admin support for the Arts Commission. I live in Ward 5, and I think that's all I want to share today. Welcome, everyone. I'll tag Gelgoon. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Mary, you were very low, and I'm just not sure if it was city computers or what. Can everyone hear me okay?
We can hear you good.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Gülgün Kayım. I'm the Director of Arts, Culture and the Creative Economy for the city. And since people are sharing backgrounds, I'll share my background. I have an MFA in theatre directing, an MA in theatre and theory and practice. All my degrees are in theatre, and yet I ended up in the city of Minneapolis as an administrator. Let that be a lesson to you. I also have a small company, Skewed Visions. We do site-specific performance. I've been in the community since the early 90s. As you can guess, I'm not from here. Originally from London, I came to train with the Guthrie Theatre program at the U of M. I also have a background in public art. I was the administrator of the public art program at the Weissman Art Museum, and also served as the assistant director for the artist fellowships at the Bush Foundation prior to the city, and then 10 years as an individual artist in the community. So that's me background-wise.
Thank you. And I don't want to put you on the spot, Gulgun, but I would love it if you don't mind taking just a moment to let us know about your department and the work that you lead. I know that it's very in-depth and probably hard to summarize, but just maybe a high level of what you do.
Yeah, just thank you, Commissioner Henry, for reaching out and asking for me to attend. I just want to make sure I have the right guidance. So I was asked to talk about ACCE programs and the relationship that MAC has to those programs, both in the past and in 2021. Is that about right?
Sure, yeah. And high level, it doesn't have to, we can keep it brief. That'd be great.
Great. So since I was talking about economics, I will start with economics because that's part of the title of my office. My office was established in 2011. So it's relatively new in comparison to the public art program. And part of what I do is around creative economics. So we issue a report biannually called the Minneapolis Creative Index. This report really looks at the hard numbers as well as the qualitative information and trying to really tell the story of what the economics of the arts look like in the city of Minneapolis. We also look at the metro area. We also design the report, make it attractive, and it goes out to the metro. So we share mailing lists with the State Arts Board. So anyone that's applied for anything at the State Arts Board gets access via mail. Otherwise, we also send it out to anyone who's interested. We are in the process this year of starting our report. As you can imagine, it's a very difficult year to be doing that, because most of the data we collect is from the federal government and all the data is behind. So we always look back. That's the most recent data, I believe, is 2018. And so we're trying to do that and also trying to embrace what the current economics look like for the creative sector. And storytelling wise, we're trying to tell the story of what community-based artists have been doing in our community in response to the uprisings as well as other emergencies. So that's where we think we're going to head. We're behind because last year we should have been working on this. And of course, last year we're all reacting to the various emergencies. So we are behind. Typically, interestingly enough, the MAC has been a partner in developing this report. They were at the table initially to help inform on what types of information they wanted to see. And every year the MAC has participated in focus groups when we've had them. So we're not sure this year if we will have a focus group, and that's why I can't be clearer about what role MAC would take, as we're sort of out of our usual pattern of work. So that's that. The next program area is called Creative City Making. That program started in 2013 and really came out of a cultural plan that was done in 2005, looking at integrating artists into the city departments. And that's exactly what the program does. It's a sort of a residency model, but it partners community-based artists with city departments to work on issues of racial disparity. That program was developed iteratively. So we developed it practically with a partner that was Intermedia Arts and with planning. So Mary was very much at the start of that work. Intermedia, as it was our partner, it was really the driver of the work. But then, of course, you all know Intermedia folded. So the work came to my office in 2016 when that happened. We're somewhat really trying to figure out how we're going to move forward with that program, because Amelia Brown, who was a staff member in my office, recently passed away suddenly. So we're not really planning on trying to move anything forward in terms of the traditional projects. Usually what we do is we hire city artists to work on projects with departments for 1 year. And after that year, we then reassess and see if there's any potential to continue the work. And as our year was interrupted last year quite significantly, we did culminate the work. And this year, we're just spending time wrapping up what we had started, especially in our evaluation. So we are funded, the program is primarily supported with grant dollars, and our major funder is Kresge Foundation. And so we're trying to produce a report to the Kresge this year. And Amelia was leading that. So we're stuck actually a little bit trying to figure out how we move forward. Within that program, we also now have a new angle to it, which is the Creative Response Fund. The reason that that was developed is because in the past, especially when Jamal Clark was shot, we saw many of our creative city making artists who are based in community rush to the front lines to assist. And so we watched that happen, and we had no way to kind of support them. We didn't have any plans in place. And so when George Floyd was killed, we were lucky to have Amelia Brown, who has experience in emergency arts. And she helped very quickly mobilize some of our grant money to try out supporting the artists as they rushed to the front lines. So we created the Creative Response Fund, which essentially funded 10 artists to support needed community needs. So around healing and any types of resourcing, it prioritized Black artists and Black community, and we were able to fund everyone who applied for that. And so Mac's role in creative city making has traditionally been at selecting artists. David Kang was fantastic on our selection panel in the more traditional program. And this year we won't be continuing the traditional program until we've done the evaluation, completed it. But we will continue the Creative Response Fund because we received some support from the council this year. And we expect to be reaching out to Mac to serve on the selection committee. One final ongoing program is what we call Creative Minneapolis. It's essentially, again, another new program, and it is in response to the cultural plan that we led that's called the Creative City Roadmap. In that cultural plan, we looked at what do individual artists need based on a bunch of research we did. And we defined that creative workers, creative businesses, and creative organizations really need help learning how to fish. So meaning there's a lot of missed opportunities in networking, in panels and workshops, connecting folks in the creative community to opportunities, funding, programs, et cetera, et cetera. So we, in 2019, experimented with a bunch of options, and Mac was involved. In Flow, Northside Flow, Mac members helped with a program we did with the West Broadway Business Association and Black Business Week, which was the mayor's office. And Mac members came and volunteered. Joan, you participated, and Lisa, I believe you were there, or you participated at some level. It was a fantastic success. So we collected a lot of data with that. We also hosted 2 additional events for arts service providers and for nonprofit leaders. And Mac was invited to those 2. We could not continue the work in 2020 because everything we planned, we didn't move forward on, since it was a year where people weren't gathering and we were under-resourced. So this coming year, we will be looking to recover on that issue. We will be focusing on cultural corridors. So the council approved the cultural corridor concept, and we'll be starting there. We know that the issue of networking, of resource, where are the resources, that's become even more critical than ever with COVID. And so that's what we'll be doing this year. We're still in the planning phases because that was going to be work that Amelia was going to lead. Amelia has a background in cultural districts. She used to work at LISC, and we were very lucky to have her. And unfortunately, we're trying to reassess who we could put into that position. Finally, I was asked to also talk about the newsletter. So my office issues a newsletter usually every other week. And essentially, it's news on our work. It's news that people send to me. I believe this week we have Mac's information on openings and positions on the commission. And there's always public art when it's shared with us. So we get that out and it's managed by Tico Yang. Tico is also the project manager, by the way, on the Creative City Making and Creative Response Fund. So it's really just, it was 3 of us, now it's 2. It's a small office. I'm going to pause there. I think I've said a lot, and I don't know if I've run over my time, but I'll let you guys ask me questions.
Thank you, Gokun. I appreciate the overview of your office and the work that you're leading, and also the unfortunate situation with Amelia's passing and how that's affecting the department and some of the work that's been stalled. I think we will want to invite you back once some of those work streams start to become more clear, because clearly you're in a situation that's a kind of a crisis situation. So, or not even kind of, it is a crisis situation with the work that you're leading. So thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Gulgun before we move forward to just ask any of our guests to introduce themselves?
No questions, just a comment. This is Commissioner Swinton, and I got the newsletter yesterday via my email and really enjoyed it. And thank you for the shout out for Mac. And I believe that's in all of the different call to artists. I think us working with you on how do we continue to get the word out throughout the community in addition. But I just a wonderful job. I just wanted to say wonderful job on the newsletter.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, we archive all of our newsletters so people can go to the city's webpage and look at past editions, just so you guys are aware. And I will share whatever comes across my desk. We usually prioritize city information first. And then we then look at partners like Bloomington sometimes sends me information, or other cities in the metro. And then we do national. So I'm sort of the crossroads of a lot of information that comes through my email. And that's how a lot of the information goes back out. I'm also the point person for Americans for the Arts, which is a national organization. And I serve on the executive committee of the United States Urban Arts Federation, as well as the emergency response funds for artists. So anyway, therefore I get a lot of email, and it's we try to get as much out as we can in a timely way so it can be useful. So I appreciate hearing that it's useful to people.
Thank you. And if you would like to sign up for that newsletter and you're not already signed up, I would say either let Gulgun or Tina know, and you can.
Yeah.
So
in the newsletter itself, if you've received it, obviously, if you received it, you're signed up for it. But there's a click area, and I can share it if you would like with the commission on where to go and sign up yourself. I can't sign you up. You have to do it yourself.
That'd be great. Thank you. Do we have any guests present? Thank you, Gulgun, for that and for that comment, Jeff. Any guests that are here this evening that want to quickly introduce themselves before we move on to the next items in our agenda?
Yes, there is a guest.
Go ahead.
Hello, there is a name is
Hello.
Umebe. My name is Umebe Onyejekwe. I'm a Nigerian American. I'm a museums person. I'm listened, and I'm in awe. I am very impressed. Just came to listen, to hear what you do, and I'm highly impressed. I'm a lady. Most people think I'm a man, but because my voice is a bit deep, but I'm a lady. Thank you for having me, and thank you for inviting me.
We couldn't be more thrilled that you're here, and I know that you are considering applying for a position, so I welcome you to follow up with any of us. Would love to answer any questions you have, and are just really excited that you've come this evening, so thank you. Any other guests with us this evening? Okay, with that, we will advance to the next item on our agenda. Just any corrections for minutes from January. Going, gone. Okay. Let's move on to our discussion, if that's okay. And we'll try to kind of get through this agenda and make sure that we try to finish up on time. The first item is just updates and next steps regarding the letter that we had submitted to the audit committee in we had approved it moving forward in December and then submitted it early January. And I am going to provide these updates to you. We did not receive a response via email from any of the 52 people that were on that email distribution list. However, I followed up and I reached out to Director Patrick and asked for a meeting, pretty impromptu, last week, and was able to meet with him briefly, just to talk over our request and get any insight that he had. And he wanted me to let you all know that he sends his regrets that his team was unable to provide us with a formal response. We hit them right in the moment where they were preparing their year-long plan for the audit committee, and we did that strategically, kind of not knowing what the process was to advance a request for audit. But in watching the meeting that was held on February 8th, just was really eye-opening to what the audit committee does and the amount of work that they have on their plates with all different areas across the enterprise. So realizing that in his department of 4 FTEs, that really getting back to us while he said that, he really felt that our concerns are valid and that he appreciated us reaching out, but that it just was not possible for them to advance our request as we had sent it. So, and within the timeline that we had requested. But we had a really robust conversation, and he was really nice. And I honestly feel like that letter was an inroad to building a relationship with Director Patrick in a way, as somebody who cares about compliance, who works in compliance, who is really understanding of the familiarity of feeling like sometimes things can kind of go adrift for whatever the reasons may be. And so, not because of our conversation or any personal advice that he gave to me, I just gave this some more thought, and I wanted to kind of propose what I would like to advance as next steps for us on our quest to understand our role amongst our elected and our city staff, and while we continue to advance the good work that we're going to do for this year. So I would like to open this up to discussion because I would like to have your blessing. But I'm going to reach out to the city attorney's office to ask for an interpretation of our ordinance. This is something that happens from time to time, and it's not unusual. But just to understand what the words actually mean, what does oversight mean, what does involvement mean, and just really give us a good interpretation of what the ordinance means. And so that's something that we are able to do. And I think it would be worthwhile for us as we move into this new year with a new work plan and just start to really gain a better understanding of what's possible. I also think in that same request that we can ask the city attorney's office to clarify the language that's used in the ordinance, as I mentioned, and then, consider how can that office and how can we then advance council members to support the clarifications that will be offered to us. We also, I think, should be asking for clarification about how we request information. If we want information from our city council members or from staff or from people within the city or across the enterprise, what is the process for doing that? How do we request information? What are the expectations about that turnaround time? And we don't have to get too far into the weeds, but just how is it that we ask people what their arts agendas are, what their what budgets they are leading for arts and what falls underneath what we feel is our ordinance. So getting some clarity around that. And then, with that process, then what the expectations are. And we can also consider asking for there to be job duties written for liaisons and staff and how they advance the work of the commission. I don't know that I'd like to advance this at this moment, but this is something that we could do. So what I'd like to do is reach out to the city attorney's office and ask for ordinance clarification and request for information process. And I'm happy to share that via email. I didn't have a chance to author that before we got together tonight, but it feels to me like it might just be a nice next step to just finding out a little bit more about where we are in this world of city enterprise and how we fit, and maybe setting expectations and roles and responsibilities. So does anybody have any comments, questions, feedback about that?
Commissioner Henry, I'm super grateful that that is what the next steps are. Clarification on the language is a very mindful way to, get some agency even about what we would have, just, a better understanding of what this means and what it is that we are, written in stone to be doing. So I think that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Henry. Does anybody else have any comments or questions, feedback? Anybody feel like it's a misstep?
I think it's great next steps. This is Commissioner Bedbury. I think it's great next steps and I support it. And if you need help with editing or another eye on your draft, feel free to share. I'd be happy to help.
Thank you. Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner Swinton. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say that, I mean, just given what we just heard with the city's needs, right? I mean, we know the city needs art. We know that the actual the officials who go on and and Mary's groups are have a lot of work, right? So you have a bunch of folks that are interested in helping. So understanding how we can help and how it makes sense, I think is the perfect intersection of of what they need, what the city needs, and what we want to do. So I think it's a great step.
Thank you. And if anybody has an opposing opinion, certainly, and you're not comfortable sharing or whatever it may be, positive or negative, just know that my door is open. I know that Commissioner Henry and I have been working pretty closely in this space. So I know that Commissioner Henry also, I don't mean to volunteer you, but I think that we both feel like we want to be available if you have questions, ideas. So if being put on the spot is not your sweet spot, but you still have something you want to share, just know that our door is open and we really want to hear from you if you want to say something. So is there any other items? I guess I'll move on to the next item on our agenda unless anybody else has anything they want to add. Okay, I'll keep you updated about that progress as well. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is the 2021 work plan. Drum roll, please. No, Commissioner Aylesworth, thank you for taking this on and giving us some insight as to how we're going to move forward.
Thank you for the drum roll. So here we go, everyone. We are in a new year. It is 2021. We have outlined some, pretty aggressive work plans for the year ahead to get the ball rolling again. For new commissioners, we have action learning teams, so subcommittees, if you will. One for public art, there's the exec team, there's access and engagement, and there's policy and advocacy. So hopefully a little later in the meeting, I think Janae is slated to give you more information there so you know where you want to throw your hat in the ring. For those of you already assigned a lovely channel to direct your attention, we're going to be looking at the work plans Joan included with the agenda and making any edits that we want so that we can submit those back to her by the 8th of March. So deadline, March 8th, please submit to Joan both who you would like to elect as the chair for said ALT and also information in the work plan if you have any edits or changes to what's been shared. So what we want to do is just be able to advance this forward at our next meeting together, which is March 17th. We'll want to know how it progresses from there once we have locked in times that we're going to meet. But the expectation here is that your group meets together, whether that's via Teams or via email, sharing documents at least once before you have that final draft by March 8th, end of day, please. From there, whomever is elected as the chair for each of the ALT will be giving monthly updates at meetings like this so that we can all stay abreast of the work. But I think it's a really exciting time to be moving some more aggressive processes forward and get a little bit more visibility. So I'm excited. Get excited. Let's be excited. I'm going to say one more time, what we would love to see is a nomination for the chair of each ALT and a edited final draft for your 2021 work plan to be emailed to Joan by March 8th. That's all I have.
That's excellent. And just know that the work plan, thank you so much, Commissioner Aylesworth. That's great. And just know that the draft that you have in your inbox from Tina is just that. It's a draft. It's a place for the conversation to start. It's based on conversations that were had. Some of the things that I thought might want to be in the mix, but I'm happy for you to strike them and just make it real. Also, too, if you have any budget requests, no promises. This is a challenging time to ask for budget, but at the same time, if you feel it's warranted and you think that it's important, like, let's advance that forward and we can discuss it. And of course, Mary can give us advice and guidance about how we might want to position that and what might be reasonable in that area. So thank you in advance, Mary, for helping us kind of figure out how to best pursue that. So yeah, I look forward to seeing what you're gonna bring forward. I encourage you to be bold and to be brave, but also mindful of your own capacity and mindful of the work that is going to be involved, because I want us to be successful. So balancing it all, of course, is a challenge, right? And it requires some mindfulness. So let's make some good things happen, and also lean into each other and not weigh ourselves down too much in a way that we can't be successful. So that's my best advice. Does anybody have any other comments or questions about the 2021 work plan process? I know it's an aggressive timeline, but I believe that we are going to get there. And if we don't, we'll figure it out. Any comments, questions? Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Joan, it's Lisa. I had my hand up. I didn't.
That's okay.
Since we have new commissioners, do we know which teams they are interested in serving on yet? And is there a pathway for them to make selections, or are they going to wait to see the work plan before that happens?
I mean, Janae is going to give a little bit of an overview of each of the subcommittees. So I would love for our new commissioners to hear what she's going to let you know about these different groups, and then feel free to ask questions. It is an expectation that everyone's seated on a subcommittee. So, it's something that you need to do. We would like to get everyone in their positions by the end of Q1. That's a goal that exec has. But if we can support new commissioners and just understanding where they feel their gifts and abilities would be the best fit, that's a fun conversation for us to have. So reach out. And if you don't reach out, we'll probably reach out to you and say, like, hey, which thing are you thinking about doing, and what interests you, and what do you want to bring forward? Like, what gifts and abilities do you feel would really highlight? So I'd like to seat everyone in March, but if that doesn't work out, it's okay. And again, we do have people who rove from time to time. It's a good enough place as any to announce that Ellie will be moving to public arts moving forward. So that's exciting. And Mary is already working with Ellie on getting oriented to the Public Art Advisory Council. Commissioner Aylesworth is really stepping up in the policy committee. So there's just different ways that people are kind of like making their moves. And if you find yourself in a ALT or a subcommittee that you just aren't feeling like you're maybe going to be, it's going to be the best use of your time, I don't, no one's really said no to like making a move as long as you're continuing to serve. I will say that the policy committee does, I think, need people this year, especially for the work that's coming up, and has the least amount of members at this moment. But if that's not what you're interested in, then that's okay. Sonia, we'll talk more about ALTs. Does that answer your question, Lisa?
Yeah, sorry, I jumped the agenda. I should have been paying more attention. Please excuse.
Oh my gosh, no, it's okay. It was an okay moment to mention that. So, okay, any other comments or questions about the work plan process? All right, yay. Okay, so the next item is filling vacancies on the MAC, students and the application deadline. And we have some updates about that. So met with the Dean of Fine Arts at the Minneapolis College with Commissioner Middag about a week and a half ago, or I can't even remember, a week ago. And who was like super interested in applying herself, which is pretty awesome. And also, thank you, Commissioner Swinton, for opening our eyes that we should also be looking at educators in these organizations. And then is strategically looking at what different groups and bodies and like there's a Latinx leadership group within the college. There's some other just groups that she thinks that, you know, even as they may not be specifically arts focused, they may be governance focused, and there might be some different entrees to why they might be interested. So, so that work is happening. So that's, I don't know, Lisa, do you have anything to add about that conversation?
Only that the dean also suggested she had in mind a couple of specific educators who she thought would be a good fit as well, and that she was going to pass that information along to them. So hopefully we'll see some applicants, at least from the education side, and it would be even better if we had a student or two. Maybe the only other thing to add is Tina very kindly gave us that sort of chart of what vacancies we have and how long they would need to serve. And we do have some shorter timelines that might be amenable for a younger person who couldn't commit to a longer term. So just something to keep in mind.
Yes, that's really good information. We have 3 seats that are artist seats that are through the end of December. So that's a really interesting opportunity for an artist, I think. So even as we're looking at the college, and then I'll tell you a little bit about Ahava's outreach. You know, if you know artists that might be interested, the application's open now. And if you need any supporting materials, I did kind of like in a rash way update our one sheet. It's not what we want to use forever, but if somebody just wants to be able to read like who we are and what we do and get a list of our names, Ahava is updating all of our bios and headshots right now, and just saw a draft of that, and it is beautiful. You know, but I can send you that material if you want to, you know, if you want to court somebody. So let me know. But those short-term opportunities might be a little bit more inviting to people to just see if it's something that they want to stick with or not. Okay, and then I don't want to speak for you, Ahava, but and I also don't want to put you on the spot, but I know that you are reaching out.
I can jump in, yeah.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yes, in addition to our efforts to get college-age students and educators, I also connected with the current director at the Perfect Arts High School. And we have a Zoom call set up on Friday to talk through some specific individuals that she had in mind that she thought might be great to apply, that are recent graduates. So they're not high school age students, but they're probably early 20s and working as artists in the Twin Cities area that might be really great fits and interested in the commission. And then we were going to talk about whether there might be some high school seniors that would be involved enough as artists to potentially submit the application. So I was going to ask if there's actually an age cutoff, like if they'd have to be older than 18, Joan, and I don't know if that's written into statute anywhere, but that is kind of where things are progressing on that front. But for sure, a lot of interest from the Purpose leadership to be more involved and connected to the commission. So, and many educators there as well, teachers that we could potentially pull in as another avenue.
That's fabulous. Thank you, Ahava, for doing that. I really appreciate that level of outreach. And I apologize that I do not have an answer to your question, but I need to know the answer, so we will get it for you. I know that we were talking about being able to open up the slate to students, and that mattered to us to get young people on the commission. So I will follow up with everybody and let you know.
No problem. And I think what's great and unique about Purpose is there's many students that are 18 and or recent graduates. So if that is a potential barrier, I think it's one we can definitely work around and still have young artists represented on the commission.
That's wonderful. Thank you for that consideration. I really appreciate it.
Hey,
Okay.
Can I ask something?
Oh, sure.
Can I have a copy or two of the bio for your organization? Can it be sent to me too?
Oh, sure. Yes. The one page of like who we are and what we do. Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes, the ones that I can pass on to some artists.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Okay,
Tina, do you
thank
have Wemby's email address?
Yes, I do. I can send that to you.
Oh, great.
Okay, thank you.
I'm glad we could do that. Okay. Any other questions, comments, feedback about openings? I mean, I challenge you all to invite one person that you think would be a good fit. Clearly, we need representation from other parts of the city. we need representation from the BIPOC community. We also need that this to be have a value proposition that we can talk about and stand behind. And I think it's a good time for people to be coming on as we are really dialing down on our work plans and opening up some new meaningful work and ways of working. So I challenge everybody to consider that. Okay.
Can I ask another question?
Of course.
When you guys were introducing yourselves, I kept hearing word for, word this, word that. I'm from Brooklyn Park, and I'm hoping to apply. Oh, that's acceptable, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I think if you want,
because I didn't hear anybody from Brooklyn Park or from Brooklyn Center or anywhere else. I kept hearing word for, word this, word to, word that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So when you apply, we have to get a waiver from the from City Council. So we have to go a different route because you don't live in Minneapolis. So we can talk outside of this meeting about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. And I do think that it is helpful to be able to connect what it is that you wish to accomplish or what your vision is, and being a commissioner with how it may benefit the city of Minneapolis, being that that's the geography we serve. But I think that there's many rich and very valuable ways that can happen. So yeah, it's a good conversation, and thank you for bringing that up. Okay. Any other comments, questions about vacancies? Okay, thanks everyone. Moving on, Commissioner Middag, would you like to
absolutely
take it away?
Thanks. So tonight is the night we're going to elect our officers for the commission. And we do that by electing the executive committee. So the executive committee is a 6-person sort of subgroup of the commission who serves in a sort of leadership role. We set agendas and sort of talk strategy and prepare things for consideration by the full commission. So we have a chair position, a vice chair position, and a secretary position. So we have 3 officer-held positions, and then we have 3 sort of at-large commission members available. So I have a slate of commissioners to advance for your consideration. But before I do that, it's important for me just to find out if anyone has any nominations from the floor, if there's anyone who's interested in serving who hasn't yet taken the opportunity to let us know about that. Just checking in again here one more time, making sure nobody would like to advance someone or themselves from the floor for the slate, or I'm sorry, for consideration for the executive committee or any of the leadership positions. Okay, and I know this sounds awkward. This is just one of those things we do. We're going to give you one last chance. This is it. This is it before you hear our fabulous slate. But, you know, there's always room for more people at the table. So if someone else would like to step forward, please speak. All right. Well, hearing no nominations from the floor, then it is really my privilege to advance a pretty fabulous slate of folks for your consideration as our executive committee. And they are, in a very particular order, Joan Vorderbruggen as our chair, Janae Henry as our vice chair, Lana Aylesworth as our secretary, and then 3 at-large commissioners, and that would be Ellie Kevorkian, Jeffrey Swinton, and Mandy Bedbury. So this is me placing into nomination this beautiful slate of folks for your consideration. I would love to hear someone second.
I second. Sahaba.
Thank you, Ahava. Is there any other questions or considerations on the slate before you? Okay. So then we need to take an official vote on the slate. So this is something Tina will do a roll call here, and you are voting on acceptance of the slate of commissioners that we advanced. I don't believe I need to read it again, but I will say quickly, Joan, Janae, Lana, Ellie, Jeffrey, and Mandy are our A-Team Executive Committee. Tina, could you do the roll call for us, please?
Yes, thank you. Commissioner Aylesworth,
Aye.
Commissioner Bedbury,
Can I vote for myself? Aye.
Commissioner Brinkman,
Aye.
Commissioner Henry.
Aye. With that, I do have something. Can I say?
Oh, sure.
Just a reminder that as when I roll off, Lisa Medag will recoup or take that position as vice chair.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Silky Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Kevorkian,
Aye.
Commissioner Mansfield,
Aye.
Commissioner Medag,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Swinton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Vorderbruggen.
Aye. So moved. Thanks, everybody. That's exciting. I appreciate everyone's dedication and time, and so excited to work with everyone in this way in this coming year. So thanks. That's a big milestone for us. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the Action Learning Team. And Commissioner Henry, if you could take it away.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So as you've been hearing tonight, the ALTs means Action Learning Team, and that is the subcommittees that we have designed for this commission. The first one, or with, in no particular order, I would say is access and engagement. That is to bring accessibility and engagement to the residents of the city of Minneapolis, but then also in relationship to MAC and to constituents and employees and city staff, and how that all connects with venues and resources and other vendors and possibilities to expand and to, reconnect with art and, why we're all here in the first place. So access and engagement has in the past created artist discussions, or has implemented or initiated events to, or let me say, some things have been canceled and some things have been reorganized due to COVID and other things. But panel discussions are of interest, inviting guests, artists to speak, and venues to share with us. We've also been inside of galleries and other spaces to connect with art and residents that way as well, and to let them know that we're here and we're not untouchable, and they can communicate with us even at our public meetings. And so maybe those will roll out again when COVID has allowed us back into those public spaces as a group. The Access and Engagement Committee has other initiatives as well, but those are just a little bit, that's an idea of what you would be doing as a part of that committee. Another committee here with the commission is the Policy and Advocacy Committee, and I believe they track meetings, with the mayor and city council. They create connections with constituents, or also accountability to what they're doing inside of the city of Minneapolis, and how we can stay organized and on top of, the relationship, or just a commitment to our ordinance and also statutes and statistics. So if you're into those things, measurement and political communications, I would say policy and advocacy is the best subcommittee for you. Another subcommittee, as you've just heard about, is the executive committee. That is the chair, vice chair, secretary, and the at-large members. And so we have already discussed the executive committee. So if you do want to throw your hat in next year, that'll be a subcommittee you can join then. The last committee is the Public Art Committee, which you have, or the Public Art Advisory Panel or Committee. They work closely with Mary Altman, and they speak on public art and connect and discuss what they should bring to the commission as a whole when we have our monthly meeting to install or to say yes and approve art. And so that's a beautiful way to, I believe, be a part of one of the larger commitments the commission, upholds for the city. I believe that's only one seat open. Is that right, Joan, for Public Art Advisory?
We're full up.
Oh, they're full. Okay, so next year, maybe. Or you can just whisper in Joan's ear and say, I really want to be a part, and maybe she'll change her mind. I don't know. But yes, so that's another subcommittee. So right now, access and engagement is open, wide open for whoever would like to join, and policy and advocacy. A reminder is that everyone needs to be a part of a subcommittee. That also shows us your accountability to MAC and was mentioned during your interviews and before you sworn in as an official commissioner. So we do recommend you take, some time for yourself, ask us questions, Joan or I, if you feel more comfortable connecting with Mary or with Tina even, please do, just to get some more information about the subcommittees before you decide that on the one that's best fit for you. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody want to add to that description or have any questions or feedback about ALT teams and the advisory council and the exec committee? That was a great overview. Okay, and then also too, you have a kind of a draft work plan, and in that draft work plan, you can kind of see, that was in the email that Tina had sent with the agenda. Take a look at that. As those items are only draft items, they give a little bit of, they tell the story of like the work that might be coming for those groups. So that might be helpful to you as well. Commissioner Smith, did you have a comment? No? Okay. Sorry. Sorry, I got muted. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, and and again, if you have any questions, want to know more, we're here for you. Okay. All right, moving on. Mary, if you don't mind leading public art updates, I just want to say that there was a little bit of a guffaw on my part with what was going to be presented this evening, so I apologize that lines got crossed. Talia had presented something or had created something for us that we'll ask her to come back another evening, maybe next month, and do so. But Mary, if you would like to just give us an overview of some of the work that you're leading and what's coming down the pike, because it sounds very exciting.
Thank you. I have to talk loud and I have to sit close to my computer because I have a temporary laptop that is not happy. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm just sharing the website.
Awesome. Good idea.
So can you see my screen?
Yep.
Great. So I'm just going to update you on a couple of things. One is this project we're calling the 2021 project. And this is a public art project where we are going to be picking 4 artists to work with us to select the or to nominate possible sites within the city to be public art sites. So so these will be potential public art sites that ultimately the Arts Commission will be voting on later this summer. So so the request for qualifications is on our website right here. The deadline is Monday, March 8th. And this is actually the first of several calls that we're sending out right now. On Friday, we're doing a call for art conservators, and on Monday, we're doing a call for Hennepin Avenue public art. And Commissioner Brinkman and Commissioner Vorderbruggen are on the steering committee for that project. So this is the site where artists get information on calls for artists. So if you're not familiar with it, check it out. Also, I have an e-list where I send calls for artists to folks, not just City of Minneapolis calls for artists, but anything that comes my way to just get the word out to artists about calls. We also send out information on calls via Facebook and Twitter. So if you know artists who want to be on the e-list or who you think should connect with us via Facebook or Twitter, including the Arts Commission's Facebook site, let me know. So I think I have to stop sharing and re-share to do this because my computer's being weird. But so the other thing I just wanted to talk about is the work that I'm going to start doing with the policy committee that I'm super excited about, which is to do an update of the public art policies. And I'm gonna share my screen again. Sorry for this inconvenience. So we have really comprehensive public art policies that were drafted or that were adopted in between 2003 and 2007. So you can see here, these are all of the topic areas that we have policies in. And so just a little bit about what a policy is. So folks have referred tonight to the ordinance. The ordinance is like the law. The city has to follow the ordinance. People are required to follow the ordinance. So there is some stuff that guides public art that's in ordinance, but it's pretty broad. And so what the policy does is it really gets into the details of how this is going to be done on a policy level. So the policy is kind of like a rule that everyone is required to follow. The city council adopts these rules. We have to follow them, but it's not as high level of a rule as the ordinance. So I'm going to be meeting with the policy committee, and we are going to put together a plan for updating these policies between 2021 and 2023. We're going to, as you can see, there's a lot of policies, so we're going to bite them off in chunks. And the plan will include, like, how would the Arts Commission like to engage the community in this policy update? How would they, the Arts Commission, like to include artists? You know, a timeline for when the policies would go, draft policies would go before the commission, and then when the commission would bring the draft policies to the city council. So there's also a couple of other areas that we're going to add to this. We have had draft public art policies for memorials, public art memorials for a while that we want to bring forward. We also, we need some, we have some minor language in the policy document about copyright, but I think we really want to formalize that and develop some copyright policies that all departments have to follow when hiring artists. We are going to move forward this year, and you'll hear more about this next month, but we have what we call the portable collection, which is art that hangs on walls. And we need to decide what to do with it. Some of it's appropriate for us to own, some of it's not appropriate. Some can go in the new city office building, some can go in City Hall, and then some we're just gonna have to figure out how to get rid of. And so we'll be developing policies related to that portable collection as well. So I really look forward to working with the policy committee on this. Hopefully this is like a little sexy ad for you to join the policy committee if you're interested in this kind of work. And so that's my presentation. If anybody wants to ask questions or answer, otherwise I was told to be short.
Oh, I would say that, like, for me, I think I see this as, like, if you are really interested in change making through governance, this is like a very welcoming, guided opportunity with a steward who is very knowledgeable about how policy works and how it's authored and how the process is for it to be adjusted. So you could pay to take a class. You know, I was a Humphrey Policy Fellow in 2019, and I didn't get this kind of education that's so hands-on and has such a good guide. So, and it's also like sincerely an opportunity to create the changes that you may want to see through this policy exercise. So not only will you learn how it's done, but you'll leave an impact for years to come. So it's a pretty exciting proposal, and I just, before I want anybody else to have dialogue with Mary about it, but I just want to thank you, Mary, for bringing this forward to the commission, and that this will, you know, I think this will be a really meaningful experience. So thank you for your foresight and wanting to work with us in this way. Does anybody else have questions for Mary? That's a lot of stuff and we should keep talking about it, but I'd love for you guys to be able to ask anything about it. Okay, well, we're here. If you have more questions, if you're curious, I'm sure that like trying to forecast time commitment might be a little tricky, but we can talk about that. And there's more. So Mary, of course, is in planning stages for all the work that she's advancing through her department for the year. And so we do want to touch base about permitting processes and some of the adjustments that have been made. And yeah, oh, great. Commissioner Brinkman's excited. All right. That's great. So yeah, so more to come. I think that there's an opportunity to have some really robust engagement with public art and all of the different workings of the processes that make all that work happen. And of course, as you know, the building too, like there's just a lot going on. Mary has a big portfolio of stuff going on. So we'll be hopefully able to tour that facility in the fall or something like that, and still be able to, there's still a lot of capital investments that the city has budgeted for that are going to move forward even in these difficult times. So it's a great opportunity for this body to get those open calls out to the arts community. That's one of the things that I think that's one of the beautiful, valuable things that we bring to our staff and electeds is that we can network out these opportunities. So this 2021 open call, tell artists about it, the call that's going out for the Hennepin project, that's going to be a fascinating project, a great learning project. And, you know, artwork will be out on Hennepin for 25 years. It's a big whoop. So, so I just encourage you to engage and do what you can to make sure that people know about all of this good stuff and get involved. So, okay, anything else? Mary, did you want to add anything else? Because we do have time, and I know that was me being like, be brief, but do you want to add anything?
No, well, I think I agree. You know, what you said is this is an opportunity to really create change. This is, you know, we spend a lot of money on public art, and this is how decisions get made. And so, and this is how the commission is going to make decisions for, you know, probably in the next 10 to 15 years related to public art. So it's important. I think also the other thing that's really cool about this is some of these policies could actually extend beyond the public art program, right? So when you're talking about artist selection for public art and the policies for that, you know, there might be an opportunity for the commission to say, this is what we want artist selection to look like citywide. And anybody who does artist selection has to do it this way. So it could apply to arts projects that other departments are doing, you know, as well, you know, there's other policies I think that could apply to other departments. The values and goals, which are the foundation of the public art program. What values and goals would you like to see be the foundation for all arts programs? So I think we can lay the groundwork for the commission to be doing broader policy work if that's where you want to go.
Thanks, Mary. This is Commissioner Henry. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Cool. That's exciting. Okay, so hey, we are at the end of our agenda items. Does anybody have any new business or anything that they want to share before we adjourn? We got some early? What?
I got one thing.
Okay, Lisa, what do you got?
Illuminate the lock. So if folks aren't aware, Illuminate the Lock, after not happening and then being delayed and then being rescheduled, is happening this week. I haven't been yet. I have a date tomorrow night with my honey. It takes place outside. They are limiting the number of people who can participate. I don't know if they still have openings, but I assume they do because, you know, it's cold and people are, you know, I guess there's been a lot. But anyway, if you've never been to Illuminate the Lock, this chance to see artists work in a space that is so brilliant and interesting and not a typical art space and is in the public realm and is at the center of a long, long legacy of, you know, I guess, space in our community that was in Native hands, was at the center of colonialist enterprise was like, it's just, the Illuminate the Lock program has been a great way to sort of reconnect with the long legacy of what that area means to our community, and the involvement of native artists and other artists of color and other voices has been really just, I mean, the last time I went, it was one of my highlights of the year. So I just want to, I have big hopes for it again this year, and hope people will take an opportunity to go check it out.
Great plug. Do that. Get outside. It's supposed to warm up a little bit too. And yeah, Miri Villard is that artist, and that's a partnership between Northern Spark and All My Relations Arts. I believe that those are the two partners, I think. So if I'm not wrong about that. Anything else? Any other new business? Any other updates? Stuff we should do, stuff we should see, people we should support?
I wanted to know if Lisa could share where that is located in the city.
Sure. It's at the Mississippi River. And I don't know what the intersection is, but if you Google Illuminate the Lock, Mississippi River, or the Lock and Dam, you'll find it. And it's free, but you do have to register, and you get an Eventbrite ticket.
I should know that. It was right behind the Crown Roller. Sorry about that.
I know. That's okay. That's all right, Tina. But a lot of people probably didn't know, so that's good. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Alrighty then. With that, we have completed all items on the agenda for this meeting. I will ask members and staff if there are any other matters to come before this meeting. If not, and without objection, I will declare this meeting adjourned. Our next meeting will be March 17th. Thank you, everyone, so very, very much. And go forward and be well. And I'm excited to get to work with you all this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Bye, everyone.
Bye, all.
Bye.